Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Confidence Culture Conversations. Okay, let's go. So, I am one of your hosts, Elizabeth Olujimi, and my amazing co host.
And my name is Kirabai Kahoot. Thank you for that introduction, Elizabeth. And yeah, we're both excited today because it's indeed tomorrow would be Valentine's
What is
Day.
tomorrow? What is tomorrow? What's
Tomorrow
that?
is Valentine's Day, Elizabeth. Did you get a card for your dear husband?
I'm not going to say in here, am
All right.
I?
Yeah, we're going to talk about what are your love languages today. And I think it's so apt that we explore this, for those who are struggling, oh, it's going to be another day. Oh, how can I express my love on this special day? A lot of people will be walking around the city with flowers, candies, teddy bears, and what else will they be walking around? Special gifts, intimate gifts. But you know what? We can explore something outside that.
Some people will probably be walking around dressed in red.
Oh, yes, we forgot about that. Red, red wine. Yep. So, Elizabeth, how was your week?
My week, well, it's just started, right? We're just on Tuesday. It's been a great week. I can't complain. I can't complain. It's been good, just spending time with family because Janai is off school this week. So yeah, enjoying the half
Mm,
term.
you have your hands full with little Janaya jumping all around. Mommy, can we go to the park? But you know what? It's been quite. The weather is quite bleak, and it's raining. But we don't let the weather spoil our state of mind. We're
That's
happy all
it.
the time. Yes. So let's dive into the subject of what is your love language.
Ooh,
So this topic was something that always intrigued me because before I got married, I read the book by this gentleman called Gary Chapman, and he's famous. He's famous on his books on relationships. So if those who are out there who want to master relationships, I think he's a great author and a good
yes.
book. He's got a couple of good books to read. So he talks about five different love languages. So, Elizabeth, would you like to explore the first one, Elizabeth? I give
The
you the
first one.
honor. Yeah.
Right, I've got the list in front of me just so I don't miss any out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with acts of service.
Okay.
Which I think I like that one. I think I
Mhm,
like
mhm.
that one, and it's really about like just doing things. So it's not just about saying I love you, but actually I show my love for you by doing an act of service for you. And I think my husband is amazing at this.
Mhm, mhm.
I must say he does well. He does well
I
because
support that. I can see
cups
that
of
too, true and
tea,
true.
cooking food, all that stuff. So yeah, no, the acts of service. I think he's good at it. So maybe that is my love language, eh? But you know what? That is one of them, and there's five of them, like you said, and um, someone might be watching this and thinking, I don't even know these love languages. So we're going to talk about them, and there is also a website that you can check out, fivelovelanguages.com.
Yeah.
So
And
if
also
you
a quiz.
Yes, so you can take the quiz. If you don't know your love language, you can take the quiz and it will give you an idea. But yes, acts of service, that's the one. That's the one I picked out of the bag now.
Mhm.
And do you know what? I really love this one because sometimes it's easy for us to say I love you or to assume the person knows we love them, but yet we are not walking in it, or we are not doing things to reflect it. We say, oh, they know it. She knows I love her. He knows I love him. And, you know, but actually being able to say, I'm going to go out of my way to serve you. Yeah, that's
No,
a good
I
one.
like the way Tunji. serves you all the time. When and it's so supportive. He plays such a supportive role in your coaching business. And in fact, when I could say that he's always been there, when we had conferences, he was there
Yeah.
taking the videos, and vice versa. We the last workshop that Tunji put up with for the writers, huh? And there
Yeah.
you were hosting, and there he was taking the pictures. There's a teamwork going on here, and
So
and
service.
yeah, out of service. And they say, what is that saying that says that a, teamwork works makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work. And I think as couples, the goal is, whatever goals you have, working towards that goal and helping one another and doing things together.
Yeah, be a team.
Yeah, be a team. And what a wonderful way to. So if you're thinking how you're going to be a blessing to your spouse, your partner, do something out of the way for him or her.
Do something. Don't
Yes.
just say something, but we're coming to the saying as well. But yeah, do something. It's funny you mentioned the statement teamwork makes the dream work because Janaya has grasped that statement.
Is it?
Yeah. As young as she is, just grasped the statement and we might do a task together. And then she's like, oh, that was teamwork. She's like, teamwork makes the dream work.
How cute is that? And
So yeah, it's a good one.
I mean, if I fail to mention this, I'm really silly. No, my husband drives me all over London. He drives me all
Acts
over.
of service.
Yeah, act of service. He drives me all over wherever I want to go, especially if I'm carrying bags of stuff for my workshop. He's there supporting me in ways, and then he manages my accounts. He's going to manage our confidence culture books. He has to keep it in precision status. So he's helpful to me. He's going to be helpful to confidence culture.
No, absolutely. And you know what? It's I think just as a tip to anyone who is in a relationship or who is looking to go into a relationship or who is in the early stages of a relationship, I think one key thing is being able to serve each other. I'm not saying slave around for each other.
Mhm.
And there are boundaries, especially when you're not yet married. Don't go and be doing acts of service that a wife would do when you are not a wife.
Woo! Ow!
Slow down on that. But yeah, it's being able to do things for each other can help the relationship to thrive. And that's not even just talking about romantic relationships, because when we look at just like my relationship to you, Kirubai,
Mhm.
or your relationship to your sister, my relationship to my sister,
Mm.
the love languages also come into play. It's not just about a romantic relationship.
That's right.
It's about all relationships.
Mm-mm.
And the love languages are really how we respond to love. So we all have some love languages, and after watching today, if you haven't like done the quiz, I encourage you, go to the quiz and come back and let us know what your love language was. If you don't mind sharing. Right, so Kirubai, I did the first one. Do you want to do the next one?
Okay, I think I will lean towards physical touch.
Okay.
I think it's just right up the alley, and I would like to share some things that I would personally do. I mean, do means I will show my physical. I'm a woman who's been in a marriage a little longer than you, Elizabeth. I'm not shy to talk about these things, but things like throughout the day with Robert, I will go and give him a hug, or give him a peck on his cheek, or tease him, or give him a nudge. I'm always because it's very, he likes the physical touch. And, physical touch doesn't mean, um, it let's say the spade as a spade. Okay, physical touch is also part of sexual intercourse. Okay, and but our lives are not just centered around it. It is, physical touch throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the months, in little things. I think it is extremely important. Keeps the connection, the physical connection. And I tend to always go around him and give him a hug. I read an article some time ago. If you hug somebody for a ridiculous number of times, it says immediately you get a connection. And it's always been embedded in my thoughts that, what, let's do it. You have to intentionally, you can pass each other by. He's retired, he sits in his corner, I sit in my corner, but you know what, we can just pass each other by and not even say anything, or touch, just a sweep at the back of the chair, or just give him a pat on the back, or he's there, he knows I am there. And that's about it. It's so simple. Hand holding. We when he drives me around, I always like to poke him on his hands. I'll just poke him to let him know that I'm sitting beside him. Let my presence be known.
Oh gosh. The funny thing is when me and Tinji were dating, or yeah, in the early stages of our relationship, would be driving around and I'd be doing the driving, and my hand would be I'd put my hand
Yes.
on the gear stick, and he would be touching my hand, and I'm like, I want to drive, leave me alone. And to be honest, I, I just thought, just take your hand away. I'm driving. Let me concentrate on driving. But I guess for someone else who their love language is touch, that would come in very handy.
Yeah.
Um, it's like when we talk about touch, for example, touch can make a difference even for a child.
Mm.
Psychologically, um, like kids who receive hugs, kids who just receive that touch from
Mhm.
their parents, are in a much better place than kids who never receive any touch or any affectionate touch in that sense. Let's not
Mm-mm.
get into other things, but just like a hug, or um being able to just even touch your child's face and just say mommy loves you, or daddy
Yeah.
loves you, or something like that. It helps with their well-being.
But
And so go on, Caroline.
sorry. But I cannot stress enough. It has to be very intentional, because we get carried away with our mundane daily routines.
Mm.
Go on. Sorry, I had to say
Yeah, no,
this.
you're right. You're right. So yeah, so touch is so important, especially if you're, and I think maybe if you're more used to touch as a child,
Mm.
you grow up to then kind
Yeah.
of, that's your sign of affection. So maybe that's why you have a lot more people who might want. I don't know, or maybe if you didn't have it, then you want it as an older person. I don't know, but yeah, touches, and like you said, Kirubai, it's how you're touching, right? It's the
Mm-mm.
affection with which you're touching. And like if someone, for example, is having an emotional breakdown, and you just kind of come and put your arm around them, that can bring reassurance.
Mm-mm.
There might be some people who might not want it, but for some people it'd be very comforting.
Mhm.
Someone's crying, and just being able to just, and it's funny because sometimes when I bump into random strangers who are just like breaking down emotionally, I might say to them, do you mind if I give you a hug? And actually, every time I've asked the question, they have said, please.
Mm.
And I just give a nice big hug. And it's just comforting. One day we were walking, going somewhere, and we bumped into this lady, and she looked like she was crying. She was walking, but she looked like she was crying. So I looked at Tunji, I'm like, do you mind if I go and try and like catch up with her and talk to her? And so I went and did. And I was like, are you okay? And she had just gotten news that her grandma, who she was really close to, had passed away. And I was just like, do you want a hug? And she was like, yes, please. And I just went, I'd never met her, we just bumped into each other, and I just gave her this hug. And at the end of it, she was just like, I really needed that. Thank you.
Some places where they put chairs and let people sit to get free hugs.
Oh, really?
Some countries, yes. I've read it somewhere some time ago. They I think it was not during COVID. No, 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 no. Cannot not COVID. I think it's in a certain places where, in a park or what, free hugs for anyone who wants to feel loved.
Yeah, because it can make a difference. It can
Mm.
make a difference, and I think that's why even like kids like cuddly toys, just something
Hug.
something they can
Mm.
hug.
Yeah, I never thought
So,
of that.
so touch can be very comforting. It can be very comforting. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, if you're somebody who you don't, because there's some people who don't like it, and it might trigger something
Mm-hmm.
because of past experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So it's being conscious of what the person responds to. And that's the thing with the love languages. It's not about you,
The
it's
other person.
about the other person's love language. So it's not about how you would like to be shown love, it's about how the other person would like to be shown love. So if you're in a relationship, being able to grow and understand what is it that this person responds to,
Mm-hmm.
what do they like, that's a good kind of place to just focus, so that you're not loving them the way you would like to be loved, and then getting frustrated that they're not responding,
Mm.
because
Well,
that.
it's two ways, right? It has to be reciprocated two ways, you know, two ways. And sometimes I think we need to be bold enough to tell our partner or our spouse, hey, I would like this. Sometimes I tell Robert, it's been some time. You giving me flowers, huh? I'm not shy. I just ask.
Well, that's gonna lead us nicely into the next one.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna let you have this one,
No,
Kirabai.
no, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Right, receiving gifts, that's another love language,
Yeah.
because there's some people that they would rather you bought them something than spend time with them, or they would, or just buying them something goes a long way. Like, it sends a message. It says, I love you, more than the words might even say, by you buying them something. And obviously, I think for some people, it's about what you buy them as well, if you look deeper into it. Because for some people, you might buy them something, and they're like, what is this?
Just give me the money.
Just give, it's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
It's the thought that counts.
End of the day,
Um,
the
but
thought.
yeah, but buying gifts, finding out like what does this person like, and being able to just buy them something. And Kirabai, you mentioned flowers. Like, flowers, there's a thing about flowers. I think it just helps with dopamine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it. I think it just there's something it does to us as human beings. I remember one time going on I was going to say Twitter, but it's not Twitter anymore. It's X, isn't it? I remember one time going on there, and someone said he was having a bad day and he was just feeling a bit rough, so he went and bought himself some flowers, and he
Hmm.
was better.
Yeah,
And
why not?
it like there was so many comments. People were like, "Oh, I'm gonna go buy myself some flowers too." Like, and the fact that it wasn't even a woman, it was a guy who was saying it. It was just like, yeah, actually, if you want flowers, go get
It's
you.
not gender bias, flowers.
Yeah,
Anyone can have, receive, give. Why not?
because
Just
they can
spoilers.
brighten up the place,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
you
or
know,
you can,
roses, they have lovely fragrance.
oh, I prefer lilies
Oh, okay. Lily, I mean, lilies are good too.
when they open up and
Yeah,
then they just smell. Yeah.
yeah. And in a country like UK, I would say it's easy. I mean, flowers are not expensive. You
Mm.
know, back in the days where we come from Malaysia, flowers are expensive because they don't grow them. You know, they do grow them in the
Oh,
highlands, but to buy a nice, lovely rose, if you dollar to dollar, it'll be like £5 one
mm,
stem. So
yeah.
people tend to buy localized flowers, but and flowers are indeed a little expensive compared to here. And here, everywhere, every supermarket sells bunches of flowers, nice potted plants, little lovely plants. It's easily accessible. So buy someone a flower, your mother, your parents. Just
Yeah.
buy them some flowers tomorrow and appreciate them. Your colleague, your teachers,
I
your
remember one
coach.
time. I remember one time. Oh yes, your coach. Yes, your coach. I remember one time working in a I think my last corporate job, and one of my colleagues used to every so often you'd see them with flowers, and I'm thinking, okay, you love buying flowers, and they're like, well, on this particular day the flowers go on sale because they're being reduced, so I tend to buy them so I can buy them, give to somebody, or I can keep them as well. And I thought, oh, that's not bad because they'll be reduced quite a bit and take advantage of that. So yeah, if there's someone you need to buy something for, somebody to just express how much you love them, and it's not to say that the item that you're buying is the value of the love, but it's
Mm.
just something small, something nice, probably something that they like that will just brighten up their day and make them smile.
And FYI, it's just not for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
This love languages you can practice anytime, any day, 365 days, 7 days in a week, 24 hours. So it's got no expiry date.
Very true. Very, very true. So we've done, which ones have we done so far? We've done the acts of service,
Service, yes. Physical touch,
physical touch,
receiving gifts.
giving gifts.
So I'm going to go and hit on the word quality time.
I like that one.
Yeah. So with busyness, our lives are so busy with schedules and running around, rallying around our children,
Mm,
family, work, um, and sometimes even not even taking care of our spouses or our loved ones or our partners. We tend to neglect. There is a high possibility of neglect.
mm.
And I would say that with a word of caution, do not neglect your partners. Do not neglect your spouse. Because one of the things that when you have children, everything is rallied around children. Every activity is rallied around children. My suggestion is have a date night. Have a date night. And the rest of the week, you rally around the children, your career, and whatever you want to do. But one day in a week, put some time away for both of you to connect on all aspects, body, mind, and spirit.
Body, mind, and spirit. Yes, ma'am.
So quality time is paramount if and when you want to grow something. And time is the water that you feed the relationship. Because time is very precious.
It is. It is.
So what's your take on quality time, Elizabeth?
Quality time. I love it. Yeah, I love it honestly because when you look at examples of, maybe, let's use parents who are always sort of working and they're always away, and they, yes, they like to buy presents and stuff for their kids, and they're away making the money, but they're not spending the time with the kids. I there's a way I feel about that. Like, ugh, like your time is more important than your money or your gifts, because we cannot put a price on time. We cannot quantify time,
Mm.
and like, when you think about it, when someone dies, they don't have any more time, right? Their money can stay, and like, still you can use their money, you can have access to their money, but you don't have access to their time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so while you have access to their time, like, make time to spend with them, and it's one of those things that I think, even, just being able to do it in the times that we live in seems a lot harder, because there's a lot of distractions. There's
Mm.
a lot of things trying to take our attention. People go for dinner, and then you see them across the table and they're both on the phone. Why did you come out for dinner if you just wanted to be on the phone?
Oh,
Anyway.
it's so appalling. And even in the trains, people are constantly on their mobile phones. And when you smile at someone on the tube or what, you get this blank, blank look at you because you lose connection. You lose
Mm,
connection. Yeah, you lose such connection, and we don't want to lose our connection with the people we love, our children, our parents, those closest to you, our loved ones, our extended family. Sometimes extended family can steal our time.
our time has to be, like, you have to prioritize how you spend your
Yeah.
time, because your
Hmm.
time is so important. So
Hmm.
how you spend it, or how you prioritize it, also reflects what's important to you.
Hmm.
So being able to just, like, you know make time to.
Yeah. So when I got married to Robert, we lived with his father, and Monday to Friday, he went to work early and he came back home late. But when you have another person in the home, you lose your privacy a bit, no? So we always had a date night on a Friday night.
Nice.
So we went movies or went to the theater. We had a meal together. But you know what? Sometimes just not talking to each other, but just being in the presence of each other, it brings a lot of connection and a source of contentment.
Mm.
So for those who struggle with time, take time off from their family, have uh, a date night or a date afternoon or a morning. Take some time for your spouse, your loved ones, because it does make a difference.
Be intentional, right? Because
Yes, be intentional.
that's one way you have to really, well, all of them, you have to be intentional.
Yeah.
But I think time, with the fact that time is valuable to us, I think you really have to be intentional, and just because, even just saying, I've got this person, they're close to me, but I don't really spend much time with them. Make time and just go and spend time with them. That's why sometimes I will, run away from London and go to Bristol to spend time with my parents,
Hmm.
because I don't know how much longer I'm going to have them, but while they're here, I'm going to have time with them.
You're blessed. You're blessed that your mom's around. I have to run all the way how many miles to see my mom in Malaysia, which I'm looking forward to going soon.
But
Yeah.
what I think, like, even just thinking about that, um I remember at some point just thinking how, you mentioned, like, I'm blessed having my mum around, and like, I'm in a situation where, like, Tunji's mum is passed, or both his parents are passed, should I say. And so, us being able to even have time with my parents is also great for him, because there's the sense of a present mum and dad, so to speak. And even for Janaya, because they're the only grandparents she has. So I'm kind of always conscious that if she can spend time with them, then let's make it happen. Let's make
Yeah.
it happen, because yeah, when they're gone, they're gone.
Making memories, baby. Making memories.
And that's what life is about, isn't
Yeah,
it? You
making
can't
memories.
always be hustling and hustling and hustling and having no time to make memories. If the story of your life is I'm a hustler, and all I do is I hustle, then maybe you need to relook at that and just think about how you can start creating memories with the people that you love, and not just be hustling,
Well said.
because it's good for you. It's good for your well-being. So just think about how you can carve time in. One of the blessings I think that me and Tunji have is because we both run our own businesses and we don't have to be in an office. We could literally spend a day together. And yes, we are working, but we are, like you said before, we're in the same space. And like sometimes I'll tease him and he'll leave me in a cafe somewhere and he say he's gonna work from home, and I'm like, yeah, you don't want to have a cup of tea with me? And he's like, where's that coming from? I'm like, yeah, but you're going. So even I think it was on Friday, not Friday, Monday. Monday, my mom was traveling to Uganda, but she was around. So we dropped Janaya off at school. Mom wanted to rest, so we thought, drop Janaya off. We had a phonics session at Janaya's school, so we stayed for that. And then afterwards, we had a window of about 15 minutes because we had to go to a bookshop to buy something. And the bookshop wasn't far away. So he was like, we can walk slowly. I was like, no, let's go and sit down and have a cup of tea. And then we can go, which we did. And actually being able to walk together, being able to, it's quality time. And yes, sometimes we're together, but we're both doing things, but we're still, and we bounce off each other. We have loads of conversations, which makes a difference. And sometimes in an average home or an average setting, mom is working, dad is working, they're in an office, or they're wherever it is they need to be, and you have to fight for your time.
Mm.
And like, if you need to fight for your time so that you can have some time in there, and it's time where you take away the distractions.
Pin
Janaya
them,
started,
pin them down.
Janaya has started telling me, Mom, I don't like you having meetings in the evening.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I'm like, girl, I can't have all my meetings in the day. Some of them have to be in the evening. But she's like, I don't like that. Why? Because she wants my time.
Wow.
So
Demanding, eh?
for her, like that's probably like one of her love languages, right? It's the quality time.
Mm.
Being able to spend time. So when she knows you're going away, she's like, oh, you're going away. Like, yes, I'll be fine, but I'm going to miss you.
Oh, no.
So it's identifying what works for somebody and being able to give that, but also receiving what you're being given.
Mm.
And if it is that somebody's expressing love in a way that doesn't really, but you can see they're really trying, give some hints. Like Kiribai say, tell them, give some hints. Like, I would really like us to do this, and go and do. If it's not working, change it. Change it. And it's interesting because when we talk about love languages, I think our love languages can change with the seasons of life that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people think, oh, this is my love language, that's it for life. No, I think you go through different seasons in life where you might need more. It's like when you're a new mom, for example, you need help. So I might not necessarily want gifts right now, but I need your service.
Acts of
I
service.
need your, I need hands. You want to go work and make the money. Yes, we need the money, but I also need you to help me with the child. So
Mm. I like the way you put it. You need hands on deck, and then somebody's constantly giving you chocolates.
chocolates are not going to change nappies.
Yeah, that's right.
They might make me feel good when I eat them, but the nappies are still waiting for me to change them.
Yeah, well said, Elizabeth. Well said.
No, I like the quality time, and I think I'm one of those people. I need to figure out what my love language is. I've done the test before, so I might do it again just to refresh myself. But I really love time, because if someone can give you their time, that's an expression of love. That's a deep expression of love, because time is not cheap.
Mm.
Time
Priceless,
is not cheap. Once I lose my time, I've lost it.
priceless. Yeah. Wow. Food for thought. Yeah.
It's like yesterday, Kira gave me her time. She gave me her, well, yeah, she gave me her time. We spent time together. So when someone makes time for you, whether it's let's go for a coffee, whether it's let's, go to the cinema, whether it's let's go out for a meal, they've like taken time out to spend with you. That's an expression of love. And the ones who, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time. It's not that they don't love you, but they just don't know how to express the love. Because I think that's where some people have an issue, is not knowing how to express the love. It's not that I don't love you, but it's knowing how to express it. Because there might be some people who want to constantly hear, I love you, I love you, I love you. I remember there's a little joke, and this is going to lead into the next one, so I will be quiet soon. But there's a little joke I had one time, and this person was observing this elderly couple, and the guy was always calling his wife, by all these lovely names. Oh, sugar, honey, donut, this, that. And this guy is like, wow, you really love your wife. And this old man is like, no, it's just because I forgot her name.
Ah, that's a good one. Well, it kind of leads very well to the words of affirmation.
I said,
Yeah, it's good one. And last week we did speak about expressing gratitude in relationships, and
yes.
one of the ways you can express gratitude is affirming the person you love. With words of affirmation and words of endearment. One of the things that I do all the time with my husband is, "Do you love me? Do you love me?" Just being cheeky. And I will always say, "Will you love me tomorrow?" He said, "You can't, I can't tell you that, no. Oh, you loved me yesterday. You love me today? Can't you say that you will love me tomorrow?" Oh, I can't say that. You have to wait for tomorrow to ask for that. So it's a little game that we always play. But you know
Mm,
what? Words of affirmation really brings a lot of encouragement to us. You
mm,
know, in our spirits, we are encouraged. We're very, very encouraged. And when it comes out genuinely, it's even more encouraging.
mm.
So sometimes you might not be able to verbalize. So a little card or a little note or a poster. And we spoke about this last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So words can either make or break.
Mm,
So let it be positive words throughout the day. And initially, when we got married, I used to slip little cards into Robert's pocket when he went before he went to work. So when he went to work, or when he was, looking through his pocket, he would find something interesting to read. So, it kind of gave us a time, even though he was working 12, 13 hours, but there was something he looked at it and he said, "Oh, this is how my wife loves me." And it made him happy. So it's all about making the other person happy.
mm. And honestly, like if you want a relationship to thrive, be intentional in doing the things that you need to do. Not just the saying, but show it. And sometimes, they say that um it's mainly men who need the words of affirmation,
Mm.
because they like to hear, like, you're my hero, you're my this, they like to hear that. Um, but I think, like, with all that people go through nowadays, we all need words of affirmation.
Mhm.
We all need words of affirmation, whether we care to admit it or not. But we do. I like, for some things that I'm intentional with is the way we're raising Janaya and the things we're instilling in her. And so words of affirmation are things that we go through,
Mhm.
but looking at all these little all these love languages actually, and I'm thinking about like how I show these love languages with someone like Janaya. And there are moments in the day where Janaya would just say, Mommy, I love you.
Oh.
Out of the blue, out of nowhere, she'd just be like, I love you. And I'm like, oh, I love you too. And then sometimes she'll come and she'll hold my face and she'll put her nose to my nose and she'll be like, I love you. And she loves doing that. So nowadays I also disturb her and I'll be like, Jana, do you know something? I love you. And she'll be like, oh, mommy, I love you too. But it gets her so excited. And for some of us, like, you might not have had that in your upbringing. And so maybe you might not even know how to do it, or even just feels uncomfortable doing it. But if you want a relationship to thrive, it's like if you knew something was good for this thing,
Do it.
then feed it.
Mm.
Like if you know water is good for a plant, give it water. If you know that something is good for a relationship, then feed that thing into the relationship. Pour that thing into the relationship because it will make a difference to the relationship. Because at the end of the day, a relationship is a two-way street. It's not about sitting and waiting for the other person to make all the moves. It's a two-way street. So there's a part that you must play, and there's a part that, the other person has to play too. So take your responsibility and do whatever it is that you need to do.
So yeah. So every act has to be intentional.
Mm,
Every act has to be intentional. And if sometimes even I fail, but I remind myself, this precious human being in our lives. We have to take care of them.
mm,
It's very very easy for us to give a negative word, or um, very easy to say something that is derogative. But you know what? We have to be very careful with what we say, because words build or it can tear down.
yeah.
Yeah. and
Like
relation and relationships are something, it's like building blocks that we have to build one brick to the other. It's a
mm,
constant building job. A lot of people before they get married, the romantic part of life, they're all, on their toes trying to please one another. But after they enter into marriage, they forget each other.
mm.
And that that's not good. That's not something you're called to do. And don't let the man or a woman slip away from you. So, word of warning for those who are struggling with this. But you know what? It is in your hands to bring that change. It's in your minds. Your mindset has to change.
Mm. There.
Yep.
If you want it to thrive, put something in it.
Hmm.
Put something in it. Whatever you need to pour in, pour into it. Whatever you need for the love to be nurtured,
Hmm.
pour into it, pour into that relationship, and then the relationship will thrive. And like Kirubai said, intentionality is so, like, the word intentional goes in everything. It goes with
Yeah.
everything. Like, we have to be intentional with something in order for us to see change. There has to be an element of intentionality that we put towards doing whatever it is that we are doing.
Mhm.
because it's not by magic. It will not just happen. There has to be things that we are doing. Your relationships will not thrive if you're not doing anything intentionally. I remember there was a stage where there was a phase where me and my sister used to write letters to each other. We
Oh,
don't do it anymore, but there was a time we used to. And this was around the time where I think I was in Manchester and she was in Coventry. So every so often would write a letter to each other, put it in the post, and then the other one would receive it on the other end, write again, and do you know what? I loved receiving letters from her because yes, I love her and we do talk. We're very close, but the letters just they were just another extra
but
touch.
is it was it pre emails?
This
No.
was no emails were there. Emails were there, but it's just the idea of writing a letter. Because the funny thing is, like growing up in Uganda, when people went to schools, the best way to communicate was through letters. Because that was before when I was still in Uganda. That was before mobile phone days, and before we got access to emails, we would send letters. And I remember receiving, I still remember to this day the letters I would receive from my mom, from my brother, from my sister. And they're probably somewhere, they're stacked up somewhere, I think. And even when I first came to the country, that's how I was in communication with some of my friends who were in Uganda. It was through the letters that we were sending back and forth, but it was, you would receive it, it's like, oh, it just brings so much joy just reading this letter, and knowing that this person has taken time out to sit and write a letter to you. It was just an expression of love. I can't spend
Mm.
time with you
It's
because I'm
precious,
married,
actually. It's precious.
but I can write a letter to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you need to write a letter to somebody, I don't know.
So, in conclusion, we just like to revisit this five love languages, which we started off with the act of service, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, and words of affirmation.
Mm.
So, with that, I like to personally say something, which I thought this was a lovely quote. There's only one happiness in this life, is to love and to be loved.
Oh, I like that quote.
Yeah.
I like that quote. Nice.
So have a lovely evening, and have a lovely Valentine's Day. Express love, receive love, give love, and the world will be a better place.
That's it.
Blessings. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm just going to play a quick video. It's a video of an event that we are part of. And this event is specifically geared for women. But if you join on the Friday night, men are welcome to join in. So men are welcome to come on the Friday, but the Saturday is strictly women. It's in March. It's on the 15th and the 16th of March. And it is it's basically helping women to arise into the place that God has called them to.
Mhm.
And we have the privilege of running a workshop during the event, so we're really looking forward to it. I'll just play the video now, and we'll put the details out, and you can have access to the details.
Transformational change comes from the renewal of your mind and your heart. Willpower and strength alone are not enough. You need God power. So join us. Listen and learn from senior women leading well in the workplace, and step into transformational change for your own life and leadership.
That's it. So join us on the 15th and 16th of March. Purchase your tickets as soon as possible. Invite your, sisters, aunties, mothers,
Friends.
friends, invite them all. You know, if you're out of London, make a weekend of it. Come to London for the weekend. But thank you so much for joining us this evening, and God bless you.
God bless you.